Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening. So my name is Daniel Nishabiti Azmi, and my metric number is 061244. So today I will be explaining on regards to the challenges and solutions of 21st century diplomacy. So the Encyclopedia Britannica, defining it as the art of conducting the intercourse of nations with each other, while the Oxford English Dictionary defines it as the management of international relations by negotiations, and the methods by which these relations are adjusted and managed by ambassadors and envoys. It is also derived from a Greek word, which is a diploma, and it brings the meanings of an official document or state paper. Diplomacy is, at its core, the peaceful management of relationships by and among international actors, and at least one of whom is actually governmental. States are also the most common international actors, and the majority of diplomacy focuses on relations between states or international organizations and other international actors. Today, diplomacy faces the challenges of modern phenomena such as greater public attention and involvement, new means of communication, and a greater number of international state and non-state actors, and all those are necessary for the shaping of foreign policy. The advances of modern communication technologies have an almost direct impact on the way diplomacy is conducted. With the change of technology, media, society, and politics, it is true that diplomacy is changing. This changing type of diplomacy has created new challenges in this 21st century. There are three main challenges of the 21st century, namely peace and security, information and cybersecurity, and also the innovations and technologies. Countries should collaborate in order to effectively solve above-mentioned issues through diplomatic relations and strategies. So, let's analyze each challenge separately and provide examples and offer suggestions on how those problems can be solved. So first, challenge in peace and security. As we know, peace and security diplomacy aim at the early prevention of conflicts, including prevention existing disputes from escalating into conflicts as well as ensuring lasting peace and stability in any region of the world. Its measures include mediation, peace negotiations, coercive diplomacy means. Nowadays, there are a lot of local, national, and even international conflicts all over the world. North Korea issue is one of the most pressing ones today, and at the very same time, a graphic example of peace and security diplomacy, as they has conducted 6 nuclear and 30 missile tests since 2006. It desperately tries to acquire nuclear capability and reliable means of its delivery despite the global condemnations and heavy sanctions imposed against it. And the situation on the Korean Peninsula has been increasingly aggravating since North Korea conducted the fourth nuclear test on 2016. So as a part of solutions for this challenge is that the international community, including to a lesser extent China and Russia, has repeatedly ratcheted up pressure on the US-led sanctions. The United States and its allies are convinced about North Korea's nuclear program being completely destroyed. Russia has proposed a path to a peaceful solution, which China has also endorsed. This initiative includes offering Pyongyang a freeze on its nuclear program in exchange for a halt to joint military exercise between the US and South Korea, as well as further talks on the issue after the bargain is completed. This suggestion was brought up for discussion at the UN Security Council and was deemed reasonable by some countries. This is an excellent example of international mediations and how perfectly reasonable efforts are impeded by a stubborn party. Next is the challenge in information and cybersecurity. Modern information technologies cut across borders and are inculcated in the lives of individuals and governments alike. The modern information sphere and cyberspace, on the other hand, are fraught with difficulties. The danger posed by information circulations for terrorist and extremist purposes is one of the threats to the information sphere. Terrorist and extremist organizations can exert influence, spread their ideology, and recruit supporters with ease if they have stable access to information networks. Another threat is computer crimes involving the violation of constitutional rights of people whose privacy has been invaded. So the solution for this challenge is, in the absence of international legal norms for the interstate relations in the information fair, it is the task of the 21st century diplomacy to find solutions on how to cope with the above-mentioned threats and to eliminate them eventually. One of the notable examples of necessary measures to counter this threat is presented by the Chinese initiative to create a Cybersecurity Association of China, which provides a platform for cooperation between the government, private sector, and researchers to enhance cybersecurity. Thus, with its creation, Beijing has for the first time an institution that can engage in international cyber diplomacy at more senior levels. So now, we move to the third challenge, which is challenge in innovation and technology. Many technologies have the power both to do good and bad. One good example is quantum computers, which have the potential to improve the current speed of technological development by unimaginable measures. It can help development within fields such as healthcare, as they are more powerful and can handle huge amounts of complex information. This is a technology still in development, but the potential of the quantum computer seems to be able to significantly improve various factors of the societies that possess them. So this is a problem as it will create an unavoidable gap between countries in terms of development, which in the end will affect the state of the planet and relationships between states. As a part of the solution for this challenge, the developed countries may be able to use such computers, and countries which do not possess such technology will lag further behind in development. The positive part is that the new technology developed usually spreads to all countries, developed or undeveloped, in due time. This is where diplomacy comes in, as diplomacy in this regard plays the role to make sure that technologies which improve the quality of life in society should be lawfully spread. In this case, these are innovations that could improve the quality of life drastically. This could be done by appointing science and technology counselors at embassies, which would be a forum for sharing ideas and inspirations, as well as an opportunity to raise a nation's assets from science and technology. As a part of conclusion, in this presentation we have examined three major challenges of the 21st century for diplomacy in order to elaborate solutions to those problems. It is evident that all above-mentioned issues concern the whole world, thus they should be solved in cooperation through diplomatic relations.